Okay. Geno Smith's press conference. It actually happened. He signed a new contract, and he was introduced today as the Las Vegas Raiders starting quarterback for 2025. There's a lot of notes that I wrote down. We're going to discuss some interesting takeaways. I'm pretty excited, but I want to preface this by saying this press conference does not mean anything. It just gives you a little insight into what Geno Smith is like as a person, and that's it. I'm not going to take this and now think, oh, we're going to make the playoffs. That's not going to be what this video is. But there are some very important things I want to talk about. Traits that I feel like Geno has that we haven't had in a quarterback in a long, long time. Before we get into the video, hit that subscribe button, please. We're trying to get to 13,000 before the NFL draft. Can we get there? We're about halfway to 13,000. About 50% of you are lurking and not yet subscribed. Also, the Patreon link is in the description below. For just $5 a month, you get your name at the end of the credits. You get exclusive content. You get videos days in advance. For a little upgrade, you get everything ad-free. You can join and then cancel it. All good things if you want to do that. Let's talk about the press conference. First of all, get someone who looks at you the way Pete Carroll looks at Geno Smith. Also, Geno Smith with the glasses, he looks so sharp. Here's what I knew about Geno Smith and his personality before this press conference. This is all that I knew. I knew when he got drafted, he said, we're making the playoffs, so a little immature there. And then I knew, they wrote me off, but I didn't write back. That's it. So I knew that when he was younger, a little immature, nothing wrong with that, still immature, I'm 26 years old, and that he's confident. But what I did not expect is to see someone handle this press conference with such grace and with such confidence. He was so eloquent. Every question that got asked, he answered it specifically. He was locked in with the reporters. He was pretty cool. I mean, this is probably the coolest quarterback we've had since, I don't know, Kenny Stabler. I mean, Geno Smith has it all together. And I wrote a couple things down here. The maturity is outstanding. If you had any issues with things that he may have said in the past, which, again, nothing crazy, just silly little, we're going to make the playoffs as a rookie kind of things. He was so ready to lead this organization. If he got an answer that had multiple questions, he hit the first one, then he hit the second one. He was very polite to everybody. He gave props to John Spytek and Pete Carroll. This guy's like a natural-born leader. He said, I wrote a couple quotes down here, I would run through a wall for not only Pete Carroll, but for every single one of my teammates. And then Pete said, I might get to that wall before you. And Pete kept saying the word stability, stability, stability. I'm so happy that we at least, and I've been saying this for a while now, do not have to go into this season in quarterback limbo. This guy, Geno Smith, exudes confidence, exudes capable and stable and leader of men. Again, not saying that Aiden didn't have that or Garner didn't or whatever. I don't know those people. But this quarterback that we just saw take his introductory press conference is different than any quarterback we've had. He was not nervous at all. He gave his intro. He didn't ramble. He hit every question. His voice wasn't cracking. These are things that I watch. If you're nervous, Tom Telesco always felt nervous. He always felt like he was like this as he was speaking. Spytek doesn't feel like that. Pete Carroll clearly doesn't feel like that. And now Geno Smith, it feels like they're all just locked in together. I thought it was interesting that he said, I talked to Tom Brady. Tom pitched me on the vision of the team. And, if Tom signs off on Geno Smith, I'm all for anything that we do. And this is going to be a weird analogy, but I want you to stay with me here a little bit. When you're on a plane and the turbulence get a little shaky and you don't want to show that you're a little nervous, but you're grabbing the seat a little bit tighter and you're like, uh-oh, what's going on here? And then you look over at the flight attendant and they're just giggling and having a good time and they don't care at all. That's what Geno Smith was doing in this press conference. Because, look, in theory, this could go badly. Geno Smith is going to be our quarterback. Pete Carroll, this over the hill, blah, 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 blah. But then you listen to both of them talk, but Geno in particular, And there's this sense of like, oh, we're good. Like, we got this. We're going to play to the best of our ability. We might not have the roster to compete for a Super Bowl or a playoff spot right now, but if this is a 9-win roster, we're going to win these 9 games. Like, we're going to do everything in our power to put ourselves in the position to succeed. And Geno had this, again, confident, calming presence. He gave a lot of props to Chip Kelly, and he was like, whatever Chip Kelly wants me to do, I'm doing it. I need to go deep dive into this offense. I need to make sure that I've got everything under control. We need to make sure we're on the same page with Brock and Jacoby. I love that he also referenced and name-dropped Trey Tucker and Michael Mayer as 2 guys that are also weapons, because the question was about Jacoby and Brock. And I know it's easy to say, like, obviously he's going to know everybody on the roster, right? But he didn't get asked about Trey or Michael Mayer. He got asked about Jacoby and Brock, and he talked about those 2. But then he said, and we also got Trey Tucker and Michael Mayer to get in the mix as well, which I really liked. It shows that he's been around the team for a while. He's been interacting with different people, probably talked to people a lot. He said him and Max have been FaceTiming nonstop. And again, I'm just so happy that for once, it doesn't take a huge leap in logic or a huge, veil over our eyes to think like, okay, we could win 8 or 9 games. Like last year, AP, he's screaming Raiders at his press conference, and Aiden showed some flashes 2 years ago. So you could, as a Raider fan, make the leap that, hey, this team could win 10 games if the defense is top 5 and Aiden takes the step and AP is the next blah, 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 blah. I did that. We all did that, or most of us did that. We could say the same things about this team, right? Geno Smith is a proven winner. Pete Carroll, Super Bowl champion, blah, 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 blah. But when you say, right, we're going to win 9 games, it feels like that. It doesn't feel like a big stretch to say that, especially with the schedule that we have, which on paper looks pretty easy. And the last thing I want to say here, just about this introductory press conference, this is going to be such a long video, or too long of a video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this, and then I'll go in detail probably on Bleacher Report on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. I was thinking, if we draft Ashton Genty, or, we trade for Geno Smith, or we sign Devin White, if Mayock and Gruden did that, if McDaniels and Ziegler did that, right, and this is even before things went wrong with those regimes, we would go, okay, we're gonna ride it out with this regime. If Josh McDaniels wants to go Jimmy Garoppolo, let's see what happens. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and let's see. And then it, explodes and blows up in your face. When Pete Carroll and John Spytek and Tom Brady say, we're trading for Geno Smith, it's got a different weight to it. So my point is, if we draft Ashton Genty at 6, it's going to feel different with Pete Carroll and Tom Brady and John Spytek making the call, rather than if Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler drafted Ashton Genty. Because then it would feel like, ooh, the boy genius Josh McDaniels, he's taking a running back at 6 to be against the grain. It doesn't feel like that with Spytek and Carroll and Brady. It feels like, no, they think he's the best player. They think he's the best running back in this draft. They think he's generational. There's that word again that everyone wants to freak out about. And we're going to be rocking and rolling with Ashton Genty. It just has a different level to these guys making decisions rather than past regimes doing so. And I think Geno Smith was the perfect example of that. If we didn't trade for Geno after we we didn't whiff on Stafford. Whiff is strong, but Stafford didn't want to leave after all. We didn't want to go get Sam Darnold. We'd be stuck here waiting for what? Aaron Rodgers having to run it back with Aiden and Gardner Minshew? Pete Carroll knew immediately, I need to go get a quarterback, and if Geno's available, he's going to stable the ship. Geno is confident. He's cool as hell. He's a playmaker. He's a leader. He said, first one in, last man out. And you can tell when some people say that, you're like, okay, sure, Kyler Murray, you're the first one in and the last one out. You've been Twitch streaming for 12 hours. Geno Smith has proven the last 3 seasons, not only does he talk the talk, but he walks the walk. Now, look, you got to prove it out on the field. Chip Kelly's offense has a mesh with him. We have to take care of the running game. We got to get him another weapon. We got to make sure the defense is up to par with what it was at least last year. Of course, we have to do all that. But as of right now, April 7th, 2025, it feels like the pieces are starting to get into place. And Geno, the way he handled himself in this press conference, has me extremely excited that we have a grown adult playmaker, top 14-ish wide receiver who's not even getting compensated like a top 14 wide receiver under center. A calming presence. Like, as good as Aiden O'Connell was in that last game against the Chiefs, Geno Smith probably is not in that position to have the ball snapped to him because he's probably drilling into everybody's head, hey, lock in. This is the moment where we can beat the Chiefs, right? Aiden is still an inexperienced young kid. Geno Smith has been there, done that, been a backup, been a high draft pick, been the guy that started for Eli Manning and then immediately benched after the team rioted. He started for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson gets traded. Geno Smith, they wrote me off. I didn't write back. Makes the playoffs. Russell Wilson does not make the playoffs. I mean, I'm ready to run through a wall for Geno just like he's ready to run through a wall for Pete Carroll. That's all I have to say about the press conference. I would like to just, again, one more time, hit that subscribe button if you can. Join the Patreon. By the way, Discord, link in the description below. That's completely free. It's just a big group chat where we talk about the draft and free agency and rumors and everything that Raiders related and not Raiders related, life related. And my $5 patrons are beside me, to the right and to the left. This is one of the perks you get. They are executive producers of the show because they are contributing. And I know some people are just like, oh, I want to donate. We're not doing donations here. You could if you want to. That's totally fine. But I want you to get some bang for your buck. That's why the sponsors are what they are, and that's why the patrons get exclusive content and their name at the end of the credits. Linked all in the description below. Please be sure to subscribe. It's free after all, no charge to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.